Mic check, mic check, mic check, mic check. What's going on? What's going on, man? I sincerely apologize for the delay. Hold on, let me turn the music down a little bit. I sincerely apologize for the delay. One of those times I got caught up in, I was talking to my god brother, and just one of those times where, you know, you're just giving one of those older brother speeches. So I got caught up in that, and it slipped my mind that I had a live schedule and everything. So, because I definitely wanted to start early enough where I didn't feel like I was running into NFL time. Man, shout out to the tradesmen. Shout out to my dog Carl Belton, man. Salute to Carl Belton, one of the definitely biggest supporters of Ears to the Streets TV. I appreciate you, brother. He donated the 50. I support and salute the tradesmen. Shout out to that. Y'all go check out the new video that I did drop the other day, showing some of the work. I'll probably play it at the end of this video because I'm not gonna hold up too long. We're gonna go straight into the content on this one. Man, I saw a debate on Piers Morgan. I think it was the night before last night. I saw a debate between Piers Morgan and this YouTuber named Amazing Locust. And I watch him all the time. And sometimes I watch a lot of people's stuff and the name don't really catch on to me or whatever, but I'm familiar with the faces and all that stuff like that. So I was watching this and I was like, man, this is going to be a great, great reaction to go over, because there was a lot of good points that were made. And depending on if you watch Piers Morgan or not, of course, if you don't know who Piers Morgan is, he's the dude that Cameron made that very good meme. They made that very good meme out of Cameron. You mad, that dude. So he's kind of a troll in his own way. It just matters if he's doing the trolling or if he's getting trolled. So there was definitely a great bit of points that were made when it comes to Charlie Kirk's legacy, and just somebody giving a straight up honest defense with an educated mindset instead of somebody that they can, you know, run circles around like they like to do. Also, man, it's a sad day in America. That was Bill O'Reilly. You're right. That was Bill O'Reilly. Thank you for correcting that, RB. That was Bill O'Reilly. But he's similar to Bill O'Reilly. I guess that's why I got him confused. But man, we're facing a very serious situation in America right now, y'all. We're facing a war on free speech. And not everybody has the right to just say whatever they want to. And not everybody's going to agree with me on this point right here. But, of course, if I'm going to say something, I at least got to show the evidence that makes sense to me. So this week, a late night host by the name of Jimmy Kimmel, which I watch Jimmy Kimmel. You know what I mean? I'll be watching the clips and shit. Because I watch Stephen Colbert. I watch Jon Stewart, Jimmy Kimmel. They'll always show like the clips of their late night, you know, just like a part of their segment or whatever. So I regularly click on all of those shows. And yeah, they have fun at the expense of Trump. They'll talk about his bad hair. They'll talk about, you know, pretty much everything that's in the news. It's like nobody has to make up lies on Trump. These folks pretty much report what they see on the news. I can vouch for that. I can vouch that these folks been reporting what they've been seeing on the news. But for some type of reason, when Mr. Charlie Kirk has been shot by a young white man, and those are the facts, while talking about gang violence and, you know, doing a propaganda campaign about how violent black people are and how violent everybody else is, someone shot him, and someone's been making a point of that. And just because Jimmy Kimmel said MAGA is going on a limb to try to make it like this person couldn't be a part of them, and this man's show was banned, the pressure was put on not him, the network, to ban this man's show. Now, we already know Trump already went at Stephen Colbert. Stephen Colbert, he's going to be out of here by May. That's his contract is up in May. Really, they canceled his show. This man is very talented. I've been watching this man since he was on Comedy Central, and I'm pretty sure he's just gonna go make his own show on YouTube or one of these other networks or whatever. So, like, they ain't really getting rid of them. They just, you know, censoring them on the networks that they have control of. But I'm wondering what's next. Will they start going at YouTube, the CEOs, the owners of YouTube, or content creators, or what they say? Like, the president didn't like that the man said that. That man didn't say nothing like reckless about Charlie Kirk. They just used that as an excuse. And now you hear the Defense Department starting to use an excuse of, we're about to start going at hate speech as a crime. The same people who've been speaking hate speech for the last forever, now hate speech is a crime. So hate speech wasn't a crime when y'all was making all that fun of George Floyd. Hate speech wasn't a crime when they was making all that fun of Trayvon Martin. What did he say? He said he didn't say nothing bad. I'm gonna play it what he said, so I don't have to paraphrase, but I will paraphrase right now. He said that MAGA are, in his opening dialogue, he was saying, this is after the shooting, of course, and he said that MAGA is acting like this shooter couldn't be a part of MAGA, which we found out that the shooter was. Because you remember they were blaming it all on liberals. They were saying it was going to be some trans black person. You know, this was before we found out. And I think this is why they're trying to punish him, because they're like, oh, well, you didn't know that it wasn't no MAGA person. You were just guessing. Nah, he was saying y'all acting like it wasn't a possibility that it couldn't be somebody MAGA, because everybody was jumping to the conclusion that it was going to be a transsexual black person or Mexican or somebody that he's been speaking ill against. Because they even went so far as now they're trying to pull out these so-called text messages that his so-called transgender roommate / girlfriend, boyfriend left behind. This is what the FBI has shown, and it's looking very suspicious. Everybody is saying it's looking like ChatGPT. Imagine you been in a world where allegedly the FBI ain't got no case, so they use ChatGPT to try to get a confession, because technically they really don't have no case on this kid that so-called shot Charlie Kirk, in my opinion. I actually think this kid is gonna get off, even if they try him in the court of law. 12 jurors is not gonna say that's that same man. Y'all seen the picture of the guy that was escaping and the guy that they got right now. This man is not admitting, from my understanding, this man is keeping his mouth shut. He ain't saying shit. all y'all got is this bullshit, and we're gonna get to it. I'm just letting everybody get in here. I'm running my mouth a little bit, giving some dialogue. But all this, man, y'all got this rifle that I seen the TikTok video where they were like, okay, even if you broke down this rifle, you put it in a bag. We seen the guy jump off the roof, all of that shit. Like, this man ain't had time to do all that. Y'all didn't find the gun on him. You gonna say you found some prints and all that? Okay, well, shit, maybe somebody stole it from me. You gotta prove that he was the shooter. And from what we see, I can't 100% say that it's the same guy that they, because at first y'all said y'all had the old crazy dude at first. So y'all ain't know who y'all was looking for. And you saying the only how you got him is because his daddy turned him in and he confessed to his daddy? So, like, this man has a really good case. Then what? What white America gonna do if this man get acquitted? But, hey, we got content. So let's get into it, man. Let's get into it. Let's start with the free speech, man. Oh, no, before we get to that, y'all. So, America, free speech, hate will become a crime. That's what has been said. Not just a rumor. That's what's been said by, the Department of Defense, whoever the motherfuckers that in control of that shit. Right? Charlie Kirk once said that Black Americans, because of, the shit that they put out there about, they try to make out with Chicago and everything, Black America is the most violent Americans. But with all of this Charlie Kirk censoring that they're doing, you know what they don't want to talk about too much? Y'all, our first story. Nah. I don't want to talk about this story right here that Ear to the Street gonna talk about. Let's talk about it.
Ambush on police officers in York County late Wednesday afternoon.
Yes, 3 police officers are dead. 2 others are fighting for their lives after being shot while serving a warrant in the town of North Cardaris. Joel D. Smith from our sister station WHP was there and brings us the details.
It's already one of the deadliest shootings of law enforcement here in the Commonwealth, and 2 more officers are still in critical but stable condition tonight. While we're still waiting to find out more about what went wrong during that time where they were trying to serve that warrant, what we already know is the effect on this community, as dozens have come out to show their support the best way they can here about 10 miles from the city of York where everything happened.
Now, I don't know how many of y'all that heard about this story. But I'm going to give y'all like 30 seconds for the people who haven't heard about this story to tell me who would shoot and kill 3 officers but tried to shoot and kill 5 officers. Is this white people shit or black people shit? So, let's hit them.
Run, bitch! Run!
For sure, Sister T. I already know what's up. I appreciate you. All right, so yeah, let's see who done shot all these police.
I'm going to address you this evening concerning a critical incident that has rocked the community here in York County this afternoon.
In North Cardaris Township around 2 p.m., while attempting to serve a warrant, 5 police officers were shot in the 1800 block of Har Road. During the gunfire, the suspect was shot and killed by police. Governor Josh Shapiro arrived at the hospital a few hours later and met with some of the police who just learned their fellow officers were killed.
I'll just share with you what I told them. The entire Commonwealth of Pennsylvania respects them. and we have their backs. And we so appreciate the work that they do every single day when they go out to keep us safe.
Your car insurance.
Now, as you can see, and there was a, and I got to find this video. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it coming up. One of the warnings that the Biden administration made when they came in, and I know nobody likes the Biden administration, but they gave a warning from the FBI that one of the biggest rising problems in America has been some white, I guess you could say, extremists. This is their words, not ears to the streets words. I'm just reporting the news. I don't know if this guy's a white extremist, but he definitely was white. But they say, because somebody said that blacks have been the most violent. And this story hasn't been highlighted about, you know, the rapid violent, random violence that's been going on in America on both sides. Let's just say that.
Aware of a domestic situation last night and then arrived today to serve the warrant. The officers killed are from the Northern York Regional Police. And while members of that department are healing, state police and other nearby agencies will handle patrols.
I just think as a community, it's time for us to work hard to heal from this and to make sure that those whose lives were lost today, that something constructive can come from that in their memory that stops this kind of violence in the future.
There are simply no words that I can offer to assuage the grief that this community has experienced. The grief will be unbearable, but we will bear it.
And unfortunately, this is a similar feeling to what they've already had here in York County. About 6 months ago, another officer was killed in the line of duty. I'm Joel D. Smith.
I'm sure it's super busy here on police side. Can you give me a head count of officers down, please?
We are attempting. It looks like we are being told right now we need at least one class one.
We have one officer down, class one.
Now, I ain't going to go through the whole video of that, but I will make a video of that, you know, giving a personal response, you know, to that situation. But this video ain't all about that. I just want to bring to the attention that's something that's going on in the news right now. And for some reason, you know, they're a little quiet about this type of stuff. Right now, it's about censorship. Why? Because, like I say, you had the situation of Jimmy Kimmel. Now, before I show this Jimmy Kimmel thing, let me show you Pam Bondi. If you don't know who that is the, hell, I barely know who she is. But that is Trump's appointed, I believe it's the Attorney General. But she definitely has to say so about what kind of laws and what kind of, you know, things can start happening. Because when it's somebody that's close to them, all of a sudden now let's make some laws and crack down on what you call hate speech. You know, the word nigga in general is hate speech. So what if somebody calls somebody a nigga, if they call George Floyd a nigga all this time, it wasn't no hate speech. But now if you say something against somebody that lost their life, and I'm not praising at all that man lost his life. I'm just saying we ain't got to give a fuck. The same way we don't give a fuck about the other people who lost their life and was talked about very reckless. Some of them he talked about. The man that everybody is getting ridiculed about so-called spreading hate speech. Because if anybody spread hate speech the most, we know who it is. I ain't got to keep saying his name. Yeah, that might try to trigger the algorithm. But we know who says the most hate speech, and we definitely got to show the evidence of that. But here she is telling us what's coming, y'all.
There's free speech, and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie, in our system.
Oh, hold on, my fault, y'all. Let me pull that screen up.
There's free speech and then there's hate speech. And there is no place, especially now, especially after what happened to Charlie in our.
Now, that is very important right there that she just said that. If she would have just said that and just said there's free speech and there's hate speech, there's no place for society for that. But the fact that she said, especially now, after this certain person, America ain't supposed to be about, you know, we only care about that type of stuff if it's just a certain person. That's the crazy thing about this situation.
Our society.
Do you see more law enforcement going after these groups who are using hate speech and putting cuffs on people so we show them that some action is better than no action?
We will absolutely target you, go after you if you are targeting anyone with hate speech, anything. And that's across the aisle.
That's across the aisle? Are you sure? She said they will target anyone. What they consider hate speech, though. Not what's actually considered hate speech. Only what they consider hate speech. Because the way people have been talking about people when they're here and when they're gone, that's been going on for a long time. But now, all of a sudden, how you talk about somebody when they're gone is considered hate speech. And now we're in the council culture that they say they didn't want to be in.
We're not going to stop. Look what happened. Think about Josh Shapiro. Universe countries.
Basically doubling down in regard to how hate speech should be banned.
The anti-Semitism, what's been happening at college campuses around this country is disgusting, it's despicable, and we've been fighting that. We've been fighting these universities left and right, and we're not going to stop. Look what happened. Think about Josh Shapiro. They firebombed his house. That's what's happened in this world, and we are gonna fight every step of the way to show that you will face the most severe consequences if you come after someone and you target someone for their political views or for any reason at all.
So I wonder, would that apply with the January 6th people? Because the whole January 6th came because of people's political views. They can say, oh, it was about America. We felt like the election was stolen. No, you didn't. Cut it out. Cut the cap.
Do you think Charlie was assassinated because our country can't handle free speech, or because one type of speech is seen as obscene by another political party?
Well, in this case, it was clearly obscene by a political party, an opposing view, sure. But it doesn't matter. You can't have that hate speech in the world in which we live.
We should be really concerned that the Attorney General of the United States literally just conflated the violent act of trying to burn down Governor Josh Shapiro's home. That was a violent act. She conflated that with hate speech.
Exactly. It should be very concerning that the Attorney General now is worried about hate speech. Not then. Never have been. Should we go back in a little bit? Hold on, let's go back in time just a little bit. Hold on, y'all. Let's go back in time just a little bit. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Hold up. Gotcha. Let me pull this up real quick. Let me blow this up real fast. All right. Let's check this out.
After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities.
Imagine.
Now, let's listen to what it was that Mr. Jimmy Kimmel had to say. That all of a sudden has become labeled hate speech.
Started to criticize Putin.
Why have you not been able to end the Ukraine war?
Because
was calling Israel's assault on Gaza.
Hold on 1 second.
Charlie Kirk said many cruel things about women, and he seemed to have a particular level of ire against black women who he saw as beneficiaries of diversity initiatives.
You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously.
And if you're a black woman in America, the massive mourning over his death brought up a lot of rage.
This honestly should not come as a surprise to anyone who's been paying attention to the U.S. media ecosystem. The Washington Post was purchased several years ago by Jeff Bezos, and while Bezos initially said that he wasn't
Is broken. The list grows longer. The United Nations adds its name to those calling Israel's assault on Gaza a genocide.
Hello there. Welcome to Planet America's Weekend Edition. I'm John Barrett.
I'm Shazza Chidalo.
This week, one of the world's leading stargazers is not convinced that Congress was shown a video of a real UFO last week, but he has his sights set on deep space and thinks they might have found something.
And following them
make for what seems, at this stage at least, very much awake friends of Kirk. A lot of suspicions, Chaz, but we still do not know the motive or indeed the political leanings of Kirk's killer. Miller alleged, though, that it was a killing as a result of a vast left-wing conspiracy.
Sorry, y'all. I'm trying to get the Jimmy Kimmel, the part that he said. I had it on this one video, and I thought I had it on this video. Sorry about that. Here it is.
In the United States, the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, they're basically like broadcast God. So when the chair of the FCC looks squarely at the ABC network and says,
I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
He's basically suggesting, as he did on that podcast, I have the power to end you and the people who run your content. Or...
So y'all, in case you don't understand what I'm about to play right now, I'm about to play the explanation about how ABC was pressured to cancel Jimmy Kimmel, which we know he's been on air for a long time, and not only Jimmy Kimmel has been pressured this way. Stephen Colbert I'm pretty sure Jon Stewart's coming up next. What's the other guy's name? Jimmy Fallon. He's coming up. All of these guys. They're using this situation and they're about to mask it under hate speech because you criticize somebody that's no longer here that they want you to look at as some kind of idol or whatever. If you don't idolize and you don't make somebody God-like the way that they want you to, now it's hate speech. If you don't praise a certain person or another, it's going to be considered hate speech. And if the people that's in charge of charging other people with these crimes, especially if they're high officials, people of power, and then they replace these people with other people that they hired and put them in place, hey man, we're going down a very slippery slope. If you're going to consider every criticism of somebody that gave you a donation hate speech, and you have the power to of the law to press these to pursue these actions, yeah, it's getting real spooky out here, y'all.
In real terms, to revoke your broadcast licenses.
So my bad, y'all. So what we about to get an understanding of is the FCC. The FCC is who controls what all these networks, ABC, NBC, all of this stuff like that. You know, what you see on TV, pretty much. So my guy here is going to explain the FCC and how the power of the government can pressure them into taking away someone's voice for something very small, as you about to see what it was that Jimmy Kimmel said. He didn't say nothing about the man deserved it or any of these wild things that you see some people doing, which is disgusting. But without further ado, let's get into it.
Basically suggesting, as he did on that podcast, I have the power to end you and the people who run your content. Or, in real terms, to revoke. In the United States, the FCC, the Federal Communications Commission, they're basically like broadcast God. So when the chair of the FCC looks squarely at the ABC network and says,
I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way.
He's basically suggesting, as he did on that podcast, I have the power to end you and the people who run your content. Or, in real terms, to revoke your broadcast licenses. Because he was really upset about this.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
That was part of Jimmy Kimmel's opening monologue.
So this man gets canceled. I mean, literally marked out for saying that. That was all, y'all. If you didn't know what it was that Jimmy Kimmel said, that was it. That was it. That's what got him canceled. That's what made the network say, oh, no. Well, it's a little deeper than that because they got a big contract. They trying to get a monopoly over all the networks. Disney is. And allegedly, Trump was threatening to not approve their merger if they kept on certain people. So that put all the pressures on the networks to not broadcast his show, to not, accept it. So that's how they marked him out. That's how they censored him. And they going person by person. They got Stephen Colbert, but at least what they did with him, they didn't make him go away immediately. They're like, oh, you're going to be going away by May. And they're like, oh, it's about the ratings and all that. Even though they know Stephen Colbert's show does very good, they still like, oh, yeah, it's the ratings and all that crap like that. Then they go to the next person next. But they wanted him gone. They were so emotional about this situation that they pulled the trigger and they showed their hand. Because now they're showing that, okay, they're biased. Yeah, everybody a lot of people have canceled their Hulu, canceled their Disney Plus, ESPN. Like, we're going to have to show some real strength if we want our freedom of speech back. You know, we love Hulu. We love ESPN. We love our Disney Plus. We love Disney World. But these motherfuckers are working with the people who are kind of trying to, you know, tell you what you can't say, what you can't do. If you ain't a part of, they go along, get along game. You got to get down or lay down, pretty much.
On Monday, after conservative podcaster Charlie Kirk was assassinated the week before. He was killed in broad daylight in front of a huge crowd of college students, and Jimmy Kimmel's take on it got him pulled off the air.
The ABC television network is pulling Jimmy Kimmel Live off the air for the foreseeable future.
Outrage from some saying this is caving to political pressure and an assault on free speech.
Let's take a closer look at what he said, but also, long before he said it, how there has been a long-running campaign to force the likes of Jimmy Kimmel out of late-night TV. And in the end, the FCC didn't actually have to do much of anything to get exactly what it wanted.
It'd be a shame what happened to your nice network if you didn't do what Brandon Carr wants. And if you don't do what we want, bad things can happen to you.
So Kimmel's monologue, the part of it that has to do with Charlie Kirk and Donald Trump and Trump's followers, it goes on for a few minutes. Typical late night fare, questioning whether Trump actually cares about his friend who's been killed.
My condolences on the loss of your friend Charlie Kirk. May I ask, sir, personally, how are you holding up over the last day and a half, sir?
I think very good. And by the way, right there, you see all the trucks? They've just started construction of the new ballroom for the White House.
This is not how an adult grieves the murder of someone he called a friend. This is how a 4-year-old mourns a goldfish.
Like I said, typical late night fare, picking.
Y'all, that was it. You show this man, people literally ask this man, how do you know, your friend just died. How do you feel about that? Nah, I'm good. Look at the construction going on over here. So yeah, I don't think it's a bad thing to question if you really even give a damn. But I mean, having free speech, you're supposed to be able to express that. Or if you're on a major network, you should be able to make a joke about that. I mean, it's America, right? The president said he was bringing free speech back, right? Right.
Moments, poking fun, which is somewhere between strikingly funny and deeply insensitive. But not actually the thing that got Kimmel into the most trouble. The real outrage came from what we played for you at the very start.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
And what's controversial about this statement is how you interpret that phrase, the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them. That last part, is he implying?
Now, when he said that statement right there, the way I took it as an American, because I'm an American too, just like everybody else. Hell, I can't help what the fuck I was born at. As a man that definitely is an advocate of free speech, was at the time, everybody was acting like this was going to be some trans black shooter. They was acting like it could be anything other than one of their people. That's what everybody with common sense took out of that joke. They acting like it could be everybody else, but they ain't looking right in their own circle. And it turned out to be 100% correct. But he has the right for that opinion. That is not hate speech. Nowhere near it. But you let somebody out of emotion, the company at the FCC didn't even fight back and say, nah, this is free speech. We got billions of dollars. We'll fight this in court. If you want to be mad at us or whatever, we're going to have some backbone. But hey, hey, it's billions of dollars at stake. I can say that talking from my motherfucking broke ass, but yeah. It's a big money, boy, being dealt in the room. So yeah, what would you do? Yeah, Jimmy Fallon would have been out of there if it was me. I ain't lying. Shut the fuck up, boy. You trying to fuck up the bag.
Implying that the shooter is hardcore MAGA with the words "one of them," or is the statement more about MAGA itself and how that movement is trying to shift blame for the shooting to anything other than one of them?
Ladies and gentlemen, here to speak authoritatively on this issue is the chairman of the FCC, Brendan Carr, joining us live now.
Yes, the chair of the FCC appeared on a right-wing podcast called The Benny Show to talk about what Kimmel said. And immediately after being introduced, he does two things. He explains how much he admired Charlie Kirk, quickly followed by how disgusted he is with Jimmy Kimmel.
I think I was going to join everything that you've been saying.
And just hearing that out the gate, that's just, wrong altogether. Because you're the chairman of the network. You're not supposed to even be in your feelings. I mean, come on, bro. The man didn't say he was happy or no crazy shit. Like, you're showing a clear bias. Clear bias. Because of all the networks, all the shit that people done said when it came to all of these people, you find that the most disgusting? I mean, there was nothing extra, people. What y'all just saw as a witness of what the man said is all the man said. You telling me that's a reason to get your voice indefinitely pulled from immediately? I'm talking about immediately, indefinitely out of there. Only because the federal government says we don't like that. We're sensitive now. All that stuff we were saying about Trayvon and Watermelon and hell, we literally made the word nigger to be hate speech. And now that one of eyes that killed one of eyes, everybody gotta suffer. And y'all ain't supposed to say nothing about one of eyes killing one of eyes, but we'll talk about how all the niggas killing each other in Chicago and all this stuff. But we don't want to talk about white on white. We don't want to talk about white supremacy, white extremism. That doesn't exist in the same place, in the same world that racism don't exist. In the same world that slavery didn't exist. That's where white supremacy don't exist.
About Charlie, his life, an amazing man. When you look at the conduct that has taken place by Jimmy Kimmel, it appears to be some of the sickest conduct possible.
But then,
no, it sounds like he just saying whatever Trump made him say. Because that man didn't say nothing sick and all that. Where did you get all that from? He just said they just trying to act like that ain't one of them. And it turned out to be one of them. So why can't you say it if it's a possibility? It's not disrespect. It's an opinion. It's free speech. If that's not free speech, what is?
he goes one important step further.
What was upsetting, according to Carr, is that in light of what we learned on Tuesday, that idea that the suspect, Tyler Robinson, was kind of more to the right or a MAGA is incorrect, according to current information from what we've heard from the FBI. In light of that information, that statement that Kimmel said is not accurate.
He then goes on to imply that the FCC can punish the TV stations that broadcast Kimmel's content, and in some cases, Kimmel's network, ABC, directly.
And they have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. I mean, look.
In the public interest. So why only one person can tell us what operates in the public interest? You telling me that statement didn't operate in his public interest, the audience, that his majority audience? What he said, majority of his audience, probably majority of the world, could agree to. if you're going to be realistic. That's just like me hearing about a shooting in the hood and at least not thinking the possibility that it could be my own people. But there's a possibility that it could have been some KKK members just came through there and say, hey, we want to do something to some of y'all Negroes. Nah, they ain't got to do that no more because y'all niggas will do it to yourself. But there's that small percentage that, you know, it could happen. That very small percentage. So it's the same way. We were saying that, hey, they're laying out all the possibilities of the shooter. Could be the trans black woman. It could be a black gangster. It could be some kind of foreign guy that doesn't, some kind of foreign immigrant. They name everything except for this could have been one of ours. Somebody that comes from one of our great American family, and, you know, all of a sudden they had to get radicalized by the left. Why they couldn't have got radicalized by the right? Like, you the one taught them to shoot all. You the one taught them to shoot like that. They had to make it that the person fell in love with some transgender person. They had to make it everything gotta fit in this box. Instead of, there's a hate culture that's been developed, and every now and then somebody wakes up. There's a movement that's getting developed underground right now, and it ain't something that black people, poor white people, Mexicans, anybody other than these crazy radicalized folks. And they actually are organized. As dumb as they seem to the public, but they actually are organized, and they actually are militarized. Yeah, get a devil time. He'll pop out that hole. And the devil is getting close.
Look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to...
This man is literally... When have you ever... We didn't even know shit about the FCC. I didn't. How many of y'all, be for real, how many of y'all knew? I mean, we knew that there's something over all TV kind of shit, but we didn't know there was a government committee that could say, hey, we'll deny your renewal. We'll stop your money. We won't let you do nothing. We knew it was something out there, but we didn't really know. No. That shit made these motherfuckers pop out. When have this shit made, boy, Charlie Kirk make these motherfuckers pop out? They done showed their hands of how deeply rooted this shit is.
I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, you know, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
That's literally a blackmail. Like, hey, you either take him out, or you're gonna have a hard time with the FCC getting your shit to keep going forward. You trying to get this merger, yeah, Disney and all, yeah. I'm trying to get this money, yeah. We don't like this person. We don't like that person. Next gonna be like, hey, you better show only this. You better only show this person is a king. You better only show this person is evil. This person is evil. That these people are evil. You better only show this. What? Now we see why it's only certain shit that we see on TV. Yeah, it got to be approved, huh? But we see who approving it.
Let me show you what he means. To understand the scope of the FCC's power, you really have to understand how all the players in this story relate to each other. The center of everything is, of course, Jimmy Kimmel and his show, Jimmy Kimmel Live. His network is ABC. They help make and distribute the show, and ABC is owned by Disney. So when you read news articles about how Disney pulled Jimmy Kimmel off the air and how they're facing backlash for the decision, That's why. But in most cases, the FCC doesn't actually issue a broadcast license directly to the ABC network. Instead, it issues licenses to the hundreds of individual television stations that, in this case, run ABC content, the affiliates. And these are owned by big companies like Nexstar Media, which is one of the biggest. It's on this level of TV station owners the FCC wields real power.
Even a company as big as Disney operates at the pleasure of the FCC. And so there are terms of those licenses. And if the FCC revoked that license, they are saying, in effect, you no longer have the right to share your material and broadcast. So that is
devastating. That is like literal TV terrorism. That is extortion. Disney? You mean the big dogs? You telling me the government got the big dog Disney by their nuts right now? And they're really taking advantage of it. Now I ain't gonna sit here and cap and act like Trump the only one that pulled this card. I've seen this card pulled before. I'm just saying the motherfucker came out the bushes when Trump pulled this card. I've seen them pull this card on the other side too, on the other side of the aisle. I'm just gonna be fair. Say something motherfucker don't like, but you out of here. But it's the first time I've seen somebody come out the bushes with it and let you know, yeah, that's our boy. You say something wrong about him, you on ABC, any of that, you up out of here. You up out of here. And you know, ABC, they gotta think about the bigger picture. They gonna choose Jimmy Kimmel or doing what's right, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to free speech. Or do you know it's football season? I ain't lying. Do y'all know how many college and NFL football games are on ABC? I believe the NFL, ain't the Super Bowl on ABC or is it NBC? Do y'all know how much sporting events are on ABC? All the billions of trees of dollars they got tied up. You think they're gonna risk that shit for one man? But the fact that the president will put that much pressure about one man, and like this, I could see if he really said something like outrageous. If he said something really outrageous, I'm like, all right, bro, you should have watched him out. But for that, nah. Like you really, that's really a stretch, and I think they overreach, and I think it's gonna backfire. Cause unless he gonna go through and replace every single judge, Jimmy Kimmel is about to become a billionaire. He might own ABC after this, cause man, this is a clear violation of this man's, got to be of his contract, cause this is not a moral clause. This is, but this is very, pretty much an attempt from the very top to silence not only late night critics. There's been people all over the country that have been losing their jobs. If you was here last week when we discussed this, the safety coordinator of my project, Carl Belton. So, when you have, like, say you have an incident, because we had, about 2 weeks ago, we had a guy accidentally ran over a young lady's foot, an apprentice. She was an apprentice. We was all working in the area kind of close, and the guy was in a lift, and he ran over her foot. So when accidents like that happen on construction sites or whatever, you have a person that they call like a safety coordinator. So what the safety coordinator does is he brings everybody that witnessed the accident and all that stuff, and on the it was a scissor lift. But so being that I was there, it was several other people that was there. We all had to pull to the side. We all had to go into an office, and we had to detail right every single movement, what we was talking about, what every single detail of what happened, because somebody got seriously hurt. the girl still shit. She been in a boot for the last 2 weeks. She just started putting her shoe back on. Luckily, she had to get x-ray after x-ray after x-ray. It just got bruised really bad, but it rolled over her shit so bad, well, blood, it started bleeding. So you know it must have bust the skin. Like, oh, and she had a foot like at an awkward way. Y'all, people that work in the construction field, a tradesman, y'all know what a scissor lift is. Y'all know. Go look at a scissor lift wheel. I'm talking about he rolled completely over her foot. I watched it. It's like I was looking at her foot the moment he did it. It was painful. And the reason because it ended up happening because I was cussing out my foreman because he was trying to have us lift a 900-pound goddamn damper with just a duck jack, and he was trying to be too lazy to put up a chain fall. So we had a big commotion going on. So when I finally was like, all right, fuck it, I'm not gonna argue with you no more, and I was, letting it go. And then old boy, I was like, all right, go ahead and move that. So old boy started moving in the forklift. He didn't tell nobody. Rolled over old girl foot. But back to the safety coordinator. The safety coordinator, I got to know him real good because of this situation. We all had to break down every single movement, what everybody did, what everybody said, all this shit, you know what I'm saying, in the office. So I could tell he was kind of a liberal, kind of, you know what I'm saying. He had earring hoops in this goddamn shit. You could tell he came in there like, oh, I ain't giving nobody no drug test. Ain't nobody gonna lose their job. I just need to know, what actually happened, so the paperwork. He was a real cool guy. He wasn't trying to be an asshole or whatever. So fast forward, let's connect this to the Charlie Kirk thing. I know y'all like, ears, what the fuck this got to do with Charlie Kirk? I'm about to tell y'all. So, but I just wanted to make sure y'all knew, you know what I'm saying, I understood this man's position. This man makes $150,000 a year, y'all, for doing this job for this large company that I work for. That I'm doing this job for. I don't work for that company. I work for a third-party company. But this particular company that I'm doing this project for, this is their safety coordinator. They pay this guy $150,000 a year to do exactly what he's doing as far as with us. Somebody gets hurt on the job, and plus he goes around every job. People in the trade, y'all know, y'all got that guy that comes in the job and fucking, you better not have your safety glasses. Well, he ain't gonna see you home, but some assholes, they like to see you home, but they'll always run around and tell you all the safety shit you need to be doing or whatever like that. They do it on the regular. Those guys get paid pretty good. So we had these discussions. We had the safety meeting. So the thing that happens with Charlie Kirk happens. So Friday, this was last Friday, y'all. I think last Friday, yeah, was the last time I saw him, right? So I saw him at lunch. At lunch, he came in the building. He still had his job. He still had his job. And hey, what's up, Craig? Hey, what's up? By the time I came from lunch, he no longer had his job. He posted on Facebook, and I don't want to say verbatim what he said, but I'm pretty sure he ain't saying that. Like, oh, it's good for him that he did and no shit like that. I'm pretty sure he said something in the likes of maybe what Jimmy Kimmel said. You know what I'm saying? But maybe not remorseful for the man losing his life. I don't know exactly what he said, but something he put on Facebook, and my job stalks our Facebook. I found that out because I posted a piece of duck from this job on Facebook in a Facebook group, and my foreman came to me and like, hey, these folks watching you. He showed me the post. So if they know your name, you got your name and your real name, they might, pay you. They don't like it. So obviously they was looking at his Facebook too, and he posted something that wasn't favorable to Charlie Kirk, and that man was out of there during lunch period. Fired him on the dime. 6-figure paying job about somebody you don't know. You should have your freedom of speech, but your freedom of speech could cost you a 6-figure job too. I mean, they say you free to speak, but they didn't say it wasn't gonna be no consequences to what you say. You know, so I guess you can kind of say, hey, well, you still free to speak, but there's gonna be consequences to what you say. Yeah, the Constitution never told you that there wasn't gonna be consequences to what you say. You just free to say it. You free to get locked up. You're free to get fired. You're free to get fucked up. Yeah, you're free to say whatever you want to.
Is a massively powerful, hammer that they can wave over the heads of these corporations.
So,
but long story short, there's a lot of people losing their job fucking with Charlie Kirk and fucking with these MAGA motherfuckers, but they ain't playing. Well, they was the biggest ones crying about the censoring and council culture and all that, but they come in with a heavy hand on quote unquote we might not even be able to say that shit no more. I might not even be able to say that shit too many times. I'm gonna have to start saying bait speech. Yeah, bait speech. We're gonna switch it to bait switch. Bait. Damn, I can't say that. Bait speech. Bait speech. Got to take the H out of there because they might start flagging niggas for that. It's definitely selective outrage.
Later that same day, after FCC Chair Brendan Carr makes his views on Kimmel known.
Obviously, look, there's calls for Kimmel to be fired. I think, you could certainly see a path forward for suspension over this. And again, the FCC is going to have remedies that we could look at. And again, we may ultimately be called to be a judge on that.
What followed from that veiled threat was a statement from Nexstar Media, which likely understood how difficult life could become if the FCC were to perceive it as an enemy. It announced its ABC affiliates will preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely for the foreseeable future, because the show is simply not in the public interest at the current time. That sent shockwaves through the ABC empire.
You take a look at Nexstar, the largest affiliate network in America right now. They own 39% of the market.
Within minutes, a spokesperson for ABC itself would give the media a 7-word statement. Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely. The show was being yanked off air nationwide.
Kimmel suggested that the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican.
This is just the latest chapter in Donald Trump's ongoing campaign to crack down on free speech.
What has this suspension done? It has reinforced the view that the power of this administration is so profound that the executives of ABC blinked, if you will. There was a chilling effect, and they were scared about the retribution.
And that's obvious. And can you blame them though? We're talking about billions of dollars, y'all. The man came on a right-wing podcast and made sure to make it clear. Hey, he's going after all of these jokers. Who next? But it's been kind of funny to me that I know they're going to get Charleston White, but they ain't making it obvious. Yeah, they ain't making it like super obvious. But y'all, I'm going to do a part 2 of this show tonight or whatever, but we're gonna go about 20 more minutes because I don't want to go into, the NFL time or whatever. I kind of, I got some things I got to do real quick, but I'm definitely going to do a part 2 of this show because I want to do a reaction to the Piers Morgan show. So today will be a 2-show day. So, and it'll be a continuance of this show. So if you're watching this on the playback and we're definitely gonna finish the rest of it. I promise y'all. I promise. Ain't got nothing. All I got is a little football today, and then I'm coming back to y'all. I just got to get my bets in. Got to make sure all of these fantasy leagues are set the right way or whatever, because you know there's money involved. So y'all understand. Y'all understand.
The FCC's position is that Kimmel's comments may very well have breached a condition of license, which is that even a comedy program is held to a certain standard of truth.
Right. See, this is the thing that they went into. Like I say, if he really violated, I ain't got no problem with it. But the fact that they did him like the fact that they did him like that, the fact that they did him like that without it being any major violation that he said. I mean, he wasn't disrespectful at all. Yeah, he's still picking on Trump. He's picking on old boy, but that's not against the law, and it is free speech. And I think a lot of conservative Republicans, I think that's a bus they ain't gonna want to jump on. They gonna like, all right, now, yeah, we don't like these folks. Yeah, we doing our coach shit, but hell nah, we can't open this door. Because they start doing this when if the power swing back, but I don't think they planning on the power swinging back. I don't think they planning on this being a two-party system anymore. I don't think these people are planning on this being a democracy anymore. And I mean, I don't know if I'm free to say that anymore. Are we still in a free country? I mean, I know we supposed to get the freedom of speech. That was supposed to be the #1 amendment. Like, that's supposed to be the best part of being an American. That and the guns and not being slaves, but you wouldn't think that people would, have to tell you to not have slaves, but hey.
If it ruled on the book that interprets a public interest standard that says news distortion is something that is prohibited.
And he's not wrong here. There are a few ways in which the FCC has authority over content, and news distortion is certainly one of them, but only if it can be proven that some broadcaster has deliberately distorted a factual news report.
What? Didn't Fox News get a whole lawsuit for billions of dollars about that? So Oh, okay. Now that makes sense. News distorting only goes one way. So it's okay when you distort the news and you know for sure. But you got to make it seem like it's balanced though sometimes.
Expressions of opinion or errors stemming from mistakes are not actionable. This makes for a very narrow lane in which the FCC could, in theory, revoke an ABC affiliate's license, for example, because it's important to note the timing of Kimmel's monologue. It was shot and broadcast before the FBI announced that they had caught Tyler Robinson. So Kimmel and ABC might argue he couldn't have known one way or the other whether the shooter was die-hard MAGA. He did turn out to be wrong about that, if that's even what he meant to convey. But that's not actionable, according to the FCC's own rules.
The FCC's mandate is not a content mandate, right? They are not the content police. Historically, we've seen the FCC take a pretty lenient regulatory approach when it comes to content, again, unless we're talking about sexually explicit content.
What Jimmy Kimmel said was not indecent or obscene. It was perhaps offensive and disagreeable, but again, that's most of our information environment is off.
Right. I mean, are we gonna start, doing this to all shit that's disagreeable? I can find a whole bunch of shit that's on cable network that's disagreeable. Trust me. FCC, y'all been bullshitting. If this what y'all want to aim at, nah, this is purely political. Purely political.
offensive and disagreeable.
To see the FCC and the chair of the FCC, no less, make comments about the appropriateness of late night comedy, I think we're venturing into new territory here.
So another fact that we can consider in deciphering why the FCC made this a fight is the question of who the chair, Brendan Carr, actually is.
It's very safe to say Brendan Carr is a fervent Trump supporter. He contributed a chapter to the Project 2025 blueprint, which has been used to kind of tilt Washington further to the right.
He gave a chapter to Project 2025. He was appointed by a man that, kind of appoints people who only do what he wants. And they're starting to attack networks that only he wants them to. Like I say, they already got Stephen Colbert out of here. Jimmy Fallon. And, Trump kind of predicted this when they got Stephen Colbert out of there. He said that Jimmy Fallon was next. Jimmy Kimmel was next. I'm sorry. Jon Stewart probably gonna be next after after fall. He probably gonna go after Stewart next.
Let me show you a photo where I think the details matter. This was taken just this past April. On the right is Brendan Carr. On his lapel is a pin that looks like the profile of Donald Trump, because that's exactly what it is. I'm not sure I've ever seen him wear it since, but if nothing else, it hints at an allegiance to Trump, who, as it turns out, was the one who appointed Brendan Carr head of the FCC, and Carr knows Trump's position on late night talk.
Exactly. You appoint the head of something that we already seen the history of. When Trump appoints you the head of something, is because you already agreed to give him blind loyalty. Blind loyalty. He don't care if he right or wrong, and if you don't give him your blind loyalty, even if he wrong, your ass up out of there. You're fired. He had a whole show about that shit. You better do what I say when I say, blind loyalty, or you're fired. You ain't gotta do. You can have your morals. You just can't work for me and have your morals. That's the way Trump played. I get it. I think that's about what every boss feels. Yeah, you can whatever the fuck I want. I don't give a damn about what you think. What your position is. If I'm a crazy motherfucker, you got to do my crazy ass footwork. If I got the bag, that's just how it goes in America. That's the capitalist society. If you got a lot of money and you like to be pissed on, if you like to piss on people, if you like to have freak offs and all that shit, guess what? People gonna line up to do it. The people that say, hey, I got too many morals, I can't do that. Okay, I find somebody that will do it. It's the same way with every situation. Whatever you don't do, somebody else will do. They ain't got no morals.
Trump appreciated the dinner. He said, thank you, King Charles, Queen Latifah, Lord Farquaad.
Yeah, you getting fired.
And Lady Gaga, thank you very much.
No one came to Trump's big, stupid birthday parade.
Yep. And that's why you just goddamn got your show canceled. And I'm a big fan of Stephen Colbert. But they got rid of you up out of here, boy. Your days are numbered. Gone. Finito. Swimming with the fishes.
Trump's always been addled. He's always been weird, but I think his brain's starting to crack even more than it already has.
Ooh, Donald Trump, the first recipient of the Nobel Prize Variety Pack. Ooh.
Colbert has no talent. He's got no talent. Fallon has no talent. Kimmel has no talent.
He naming his list. Oh, y'all about to be up out of here.
Donald Trump has a very adversarial relationship with the media. He routinely denigrates reporters from mainstream networks.
NBC fake news. Okay. NBC's one of the worst. Oh, fake news, CNN?
I'll hold it.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Wait till you hear this question.
He sued CBS over a 60 Minutes interview with Kamala Harris that he believed was edited unfairly. He sued ABC over a potentially defamatory misstatement of facts on air about a woman accusing Trump of rape. And when CBS canceled Stephen Colbert's late night show, Trump reveled in the news, predicting, "I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next."
This president and his administration's adversarial relationship with the
He said, "I hear Jimmy Kimmel is next." And then here we are. You know, living out the voices in President Trump's head.
press is unprecedented. Trump has, as a sitting president, launched lawsuits against major news organizations. These kinds of defamation lawsuits and other threats against the press represent a weaponization of the law that is designed to silence critics. It's designed to chill freedom of expression.
But there's one other question worth asking here, and that is, why did ABC's allies, its affiliates, capitulate so quickly?
All of these companies are trying to change and adapt. A lot of that means the bigger fish gobbling up the smaller fish.
Nextstar's proposed merger with media and marketing firm Tegna is worth somewhere around $6 billion US. That merger needs FCC approval because the resulting mega company would be far bigger than current rules allow. So the FCC would actually even need to change the existing rules so that the deal could go through. But luckily for Nextstar, writes the Washington Post, FCC Chairman Brendan Carr has signaled he's open to ending arcane artificial limits on station ownership.
Meaning, you remember back in the days, President Roosevelt was named as the monopoly buster. Yeah. Big capitalists, you know, they're back into the monopoly business. Owning media all the way around, you know, it used to, you know.
Because these companies are so invested in not upsetting the FCC so that in the future they can get approval, they went ahead and decided not to air the show on their own accord.
And that's the worst thing that is coming out of this Jimmy Kimmel suspension. It's telling the whole world, not just people in the United States, if you don't say something that is complimentary about President Trump, and you say something that is a humorous or derogatory, there could be consequences.
Oh, wow. That motherfucker get on them same networks and talk shit about everybody. Give everybody a nickname. Had the whole world talking about your motherfucking ass. Sleepy Joe and Kamala Harris and, you know, Barack Hussein Obama and how he a Muslim and, you know, and how George Floyd was a dopehead and how certain people deserve to get this and deserve to get that and how to, you know, some of the Second Amendment people need to go and handle Hillary Clinton. And we've heard a lot of what you would call bait speech. Yeah, I think that's a perfect word for it because it's pretty much baiting people to you know, hate certain individuals to the point where they might want to go out and do something violent. Because we've seen that. We've seen the two Democratic senators in Minnesota a couple of months ago were murdered. We didn't hear nobody talking about the hate speech and all that. They were trying to say, hey, it was a Democrat that did it. That was Tim Walsh that had something to do with it. But if people said that about Charlie Kirk right now, they'd be like, hey, that was Trump that did that. Man, people would go crazy. So it seems like it's only on one side. the war on free speech is starting to seem like it's getting real. Yeah. So can we say anything we want about the LGBT without getting canceled? Hell nah. I feel the same. I'm feeling like you right there. I hate that you can't say nothing supposed to be about the community and not get canceled. That's what the Democrats did. So it's like the Democrats did that, which I don't agree with. The left did that, and now the right is doing this. I don't agree with it. So as an independent, it's like watching the Bloods and the Crips shoot it out in your neighborhood, and you got to duck for cover and try to be safe and try to defend yourself at the same time, defend your position. That's how we feel as independents right now in this left-right war, because to a person on the far right, because I feel like I'm more conservative than anything, but to a person on the far right, I ain't far enough right for them, so it look like I'm on the left to them. And the person on the far left, I ain't far enough on the left for them, so it look like I'm on the right to them. But I'm just in the middle, and it's like you say. I mean, like I say, it's like a red and blue war going on, and I'm in the middle of it and got to defend my position. Because I damn sure don't like not being able to say certain words and being counseled by, the community. I don't like the way that they did the Baby, a talented artist, and all of a sudden now you're gonna act like he ain't talented no more because he said what he said. Hey, niggas shouldn't be outside doing all that crazy shit, whatever. Let me shut up before I get canceled by them. Hey, we respect it though. So I guess that's what they're aiming to do, make you respect it. But at least they're not trying to make it where you get locked up about it. Now, I can respect it that if I say something about it, like I'm going to have a whole bunch of these Kirk heads, I guess that's what they're going to start calling them, attacking my profile and all that and not buying my shit and all that. That's one thing. But to start locking me up and putting RICO charges and all type of shit like that, trying to get public executions and stuff like that. These folks go to the extreme with this shit. They'll make a whole law. You can't even speak this motherfucker name. That's a hate crime. So it should be a hate crime just to call a nigga. If you going that far, if a white person call you a nigga, is that a hate crime? So you can't say, I don't agree with somebody's idea that y'all want us to look at like he was the next coming of Christ, and we don't agree because we don't like the position that this man held, just like a lot of white people didn't like the position that Malcolm X held. We just had to deal with it. Hey, we might look at him as a hero, as a influencer, or as a role model, or whatever you want to call it. But white people didn't look at it like that because it didn't benefit their race. And it's the same way when we look at Mr. Charlie Kirk. All black people are not going to look at him like the way that their race are going to look at him, because he was speaking for them. Don't feel like black women are intelligent, that they don't have the brain processing matter to do anything successful. So I guess he didn't see the movie. What's the movie where they documented the NASA when we first went on to Mars, and it was the black women mathematicians that did their thing for NASA. Yeah. So obviously he didn't see that movie, or he thought it was fake, or he just had an agenda to just be disrespectful, and he really, in his brain think that black women had no intellectual value. That's just what he believed. And if he believed that, he had to be, I'm not even going to be disrespectful because he's not here. But I'm just saying. Numbers, that's the name of the movie, Numbers. I mean, that's a prime example just to debunk the argument that he had that, you know, black women doesn't have the processing power and all that. They wasn't using white women in numbers. I mean, that wasn't just a movie. That was a true story. Because if it was white women, they definitely weren't going to make a movie about it and use the black women and give the black women credit. So obviously, you know, Charlie Kirk was not a genius to everybody. Like I said, there was many debates that I watched him lose, you know, and not know, or just lie, flat out lie and throw out fake propaganda and all that. And we don't have to just like I think it's dead wrong what happened to him. You know, like I don't want nobody to be shot because they have a difference of opinion. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. Nobody should have to go out like that. I would have rather just see people debate him and, you know, expose him for who he is or whatever. Yeah, he would have still got powerful within that range of people or whatever. But hell, there's other ways to fight this war. And, you know, saying to resort to violence, because, you know, that's just what it's going to continue to do. It's not going to stop at one person, especially when these people warn like the Bloods and the Crips. They want to see blood for blood, eye for eye. So let's finish up this video so I can wrap up this live. And like I said, we're going to do a part 2 of this live because y'all don't want to miss the next live, y'all. It was a great debate between this YouTuber and Piers Morgan. And I want to do a reaction to it, and I got a couple of more things that we're going to go over. So y'all don't want to miss part 2 of this live, but let's finish up this video right here, and then we can hit the part 2.
Ultimately, those who support the move to axe Kimmel say this isn't cancel culture, it's
consequence culture. It isn't censorship, it's accountability.
For its part, the FCC, which didn't publicly have to do much more than signal its displeasure to get what it wanted, it says, I hope that other broadcasters follow Nextstar's lead. And Donald Trump, he's already signaling who he thinks should get cut next. That leaves Jimmy and Seth. He wrote on Truth Social, referring to NBC's most prominent late-night hosts. The ratings are also horrible. Do it, NBC. And signed, of course, President Donald J. Trump.
So, it look like he got his eyes on the next couple of guys or whatever. Jimmy Kimmel and Seth Meyers. Yeah, y'all funny now, huh? yeah, real funny now, huh? All right. But y'all, we got a lot more, you know, commentary to go over with Charlie Kirk and the silencing of people around the country. The people who are coming out and exposing things that's tied to a lot of alleged conspiracies. Like we got Megyn Kelly, she's bringing some information, and you know Megyn Kelly, she's a right-wing conservative. So you know we got even right-wing people who are bringing conspiracy theories about their own. A lot of people don't think this young man that so-called was this, you know, I guess he done flipped, he was radicalized or whatever. They're not thinking that this young man was working alone. There's a lot of people that's thinking that Israel could have possibly had a hand in this situation. Plus, we still have to go over this little letter that this so-called guy left to his transitioning lover that supposedly be his confession. I want everybody to make sure they see all of the bullshit that they throwing at us. You know, I don't believe it. Candace Owens is even having a lot of second guesses about what's really going on. She thinks that it has to do with some other bad actors, to the point where she's even feeling like it might risk her life. Like, we got a lot of stuff that's been piling up. I've been keeping my ears to the street, And a lot of stuff I like to sit back and look at the details before I start doing a lot of reporting on it, because, you know, I don't like to be all the way wrong. I know I'm going to be wrong about some stuff, but I at least still like to be able to try to research some stuff or whatever and make sure that I'm going to be right. So, and, you know, a lot of stuff is my opinion. So even if I'm right or wrong, it was just my opinion, you know, and that's the beautiful thing about free speech, man. You don't have to be right. It's just, you know, sometimes you just go off of your opinion, off your instincts, you know, from what you see. And all I do is just call it from how I see it. A lot of you guys call it from how you see it, according to your experiences and everything. And that's all we can do. But that should not be silenced. That should not be. But I get it, though. You know, it ain't like somebody going to kill you for what you say. Well, I'll take that back. No point intended, y'all, but hopefully nobody kills you for what you say, but they definitely shouldn't, you know, be putting their hands in your pockets. But hey, this is a dog-eat-dog world, so hey, man, y'all tell me what y'all think in the comments. We'll be back with the second show. I promise y'all I'll be back today with the second show. Let me just get all my bets in and make sure, you know, everything good. I got a couple of phone calls to make, so y'all have a good one. I'll see y'all on part 2, same time. I'm gonna go ahead and set the time, matter of fact. He said, hey, is the Streets TV, you become more credible when you check and verify your information before reporting on the facts. Thank God for free speech and opinion. Right. You do become more credible when you fact check them or whatever. And I always try to tell people, hey, I'm not 100% sure about this. This is just my opinion. And then when I'm not sure about some stuff, a lot of times I fact check it right in front of y'all. So I'm like, okay, let's learn about it together. You know what I'm saying? Because my understanding might be a little different than y'all understanding. So I'll try to explain why my understanding is where it's at. So that's me. I don't know about other people, but you know, I don't mind learning new information and showing y'all where my source is at. So in case y'all have a source that y'all can put me on. So, right. But y'all take it easy. I'll see y'all a little later. Go Buccaneers. Raise them cannons. We got the Jets to go handle real quick after the Buccaneers game. I'll be back on, so y'all look for me around. I'm going to go ahead and set it right now. I'm about to get ready to set the next live. But y'all look for it around 5 or 6 p.m. Eastern time. All right? Raise them cannons. I'll see y'all later. Ears to the streets. Out y'all area for now.